So when I start talking to a company and they're considering digital embellishment, I kind of call it baking the embellishment cake. And one of the key things that I look for is what does their sales force look like? And it's kind of a weird thing that a sales guy would look for. But truly with this, the ability for that company to market and sell that embellished product and communicate the value and then price it appropriately based on that value is one of those major obstacles.
What's up, everyone? It's Eric Vessels with Taktiful. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Taktiful Tuesdays. I think it's episode 42. As everybody knows, Taktiful Tuesdays is the show where we explore the cutting edge of digital embellishment and the creative minds behind it. We've really carved out a niche to be at the intersection of print, finishing technologies, storytelling, and creativity, bringing forward voices who push the boundaries of text, touch, and visual surprise. Today, I'm so super thrilled to have with me Paul Furse, recently appointed Global Director of Marketing and Head of Business Development Americas for Harris Bruno International. He spent well over a decade evangelizing in-house print enhancements, from raised UV and digital foil to proprietary effects like xMatte. Paul's journey includes leadership roles at Scodix, Konica Minolta, and now at Harris Bruno, where his role is helping scale digital embellishment into mainstream production workflows. Our conversation today, we're going to dive into Paul's path, the challenges and triumphs of making embellishment more accessible, and even peek behind the curtain at what inspires him to go beyond the world of print. So let's get started. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks for having me on, man. It's always good to see you, buddy.
It's good to see you as well. And I will say that introduction, I didn't also mention you call yourself the digital embellishment guy, which I think I think that's on your LinkedIn, but I thought that was Kevin. No, that's you.
It is on mine. I've been doing it a while, and that's how most people know me these days. So I'm the guy.
You have been the guy. You have been. And I definitely, didn't know you that well before I had started with Taktiful, but you knew those guys. And so when I joined, I started seeing you at different shows or whatnot. And of course, we've got great relationships with all of the companies listed. Taktiful does, Scodix, Harris Bruno, Konica Minolta, all of them really. I want to first explore, though, and this is kind of always the starting point for us on this show. What drew you into the world of print technology and embellishment? And was there a defining moment or something that made it click, like, I dig this?
Wow, that's a loaded question. Let me try to.
How'd you get into this stuff, man? That's what we want to know.
Yeah. Let's go back a step. So another lifetime and mindset ago, I am a third generation sign painter. Yeah.
Like hand.
Yeah. So we used
Going
to
back
use
that far.
Yeah, we used to use these things called paints and brushes. You can find them in museums now.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm originally from New Orleans, and a lot of historical districts. Just at the time, and I'll say pre-Katrina, there's a very different atmosphere and vibe. So the paint and sign industry was still, we were getting eaten out by digital and what was coming up, but we still had a good solid business, and that kind of got me into it. And I didn't kind of get me into it. It's just what was there, and didn't really know it was a thing. I thought everybody painted signs as a kid, and that was just, what was done. But tried to get out of print for a while. I went to school to be a network engineer. And I'll just say, long story short, I fell back into it. I'll spare you the resume.
Wow, we kind of want the resume. I mean, I think two things popped into my head. First of all, it draws you back in, right? Like,
yeah.
And I think primarily it's the people and the creativity. But you mentioned New Orleans. I mean, I view New Orleans like a creative hub, not only musically, but like there's a lot of different arts that have come out and really flourished out of that. So it doesn't surprise me that graphic arts would be something that would be also a hotbed in addition to the music and other things.
Yeah, it's a super artsy town. There's a lot of just raw talent in every aspect you can imagine, and underrated in a lot of ways as well. But yeah,
Definitely.
that's kind of where it started.
So you've held leadership roles at Scodix, like I said, KM, now Harris Bruno. How did each of those positions deepen or shift your perspective on what's possible in digital embellishment, digital finishing, digital digital print? Like how has your perception of that sort of evolved over the years, and where are you at with it now?
Yeah, so I'll actually go back a little bit further. So the way that I really fell into this, I was with a copier dealership, and I actually brokered and financed a deal for a used Scodix and a used Indigo to run on the Scodix. And this was probably back 2015, I would say, 2014.
Okay.
And I'd never heard of this stuff. And at the time, let me give a shout out to the guys there. At the time, this is when sleeking was really what digital embellishment was at the moment, and the toner manufacturers were just introducing their fifth stations. So back then, there wasn't a whole lot as to what we know as polymer-based embellishments today. So anyway, I had no idea what this stuff was, how it worked, anything about it. But when I saw it, dude, I was like, this is it. This is the future. I couldn't believe it. We always joke now that you put an embellished piece in front of everyone and they're rubbing their hands over it. They're holding it up to the light. 100% what I was doing. The guy had a wall just full of samples, and I just couldn't stop petting them and staring at them. And yeah, I just thought it was amazing. So it just so happened, right place at the right time, that Konica Minolta was onboarding the MGI product line. I said, hey, I'll throw my name in the hat because it was time for me to move on. And I thought this was cool stuff. I actually knew something about it. And lo and behold, man, this is where I've been for years and over a decade now. It's pretty cool stuff. So really what was unique about the KM experience, number one, was seeing was really the adoption and the evangelization of it. And that for me was watching a large corporation that has been traditionally in digital print start to adopt this new technology and now support and sell it and integrate it into their core portfolio. So to me, that was really a testament that this was, this is a real thing. It's not a fad. Like if a corporation like that is going to take this on, and you have to go back, geez, I think 8 years now. I can't do the math, but you think about a corporation doing something like that, and it's a big deal.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember when as that deal was happening, and that equity position, all that, because I had been introduced to MGI prior to that. It turned a lot of heads when KM made that move, for sure, in the industry. And you segue really beautifully into the next thing that I wanted to ask, which is digital embellishment it's often perceived as like a specialty add-on, right? And what do you see as the biggest barriers to making it more standard, or are you seeing it become more standard, like an in-house tool for print shops? And are there any initiatives that you're involved in, whether at Harris Bruno or collectively in the industry, to kind of break down those barriers?
Yeah, that's another loaded question there. Yeah,
Multi-layered.
yeah, multi-layered. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Almost like an embellished question, but
Yeah, I like that.
man, yeah. So let's start with barriers. I mean, honestly, the biggest barrier that we have is education, even today. I would say that's number one. And that's a very broad term that I use. When I say education, it's not what is embellishment, how does it work? It's hitting the brands, it's hitting the designers, communicating more of what's possible, because there's not a lot of print design that's taught anymore. It's really a lot of on the job apprenticeship. I think that's probably the wrong word, but a lot of it is just through different transitions, trials and error. And there's a lot of conventional analog tradition that people are just used to. They know it, they trust it. So this newer technology that has a little bit different look, a little bit different feel, the terms that are around it, some people call it different things when you get into different companies. So really the education, without a doubt, is barrier number one. And then I would say a close number two is communicating what the value of it is. I mean, when you look at conventional foil stamping, embellishments of that nature, it's really been dominated by offset and luxury brands, because there's such a high overhead that goes into it, where you've got to produce hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pieces. And who has the money to do that? The luxury brands. And cycle that repeats itself. So really democratizing what I would argue is the highest margin work in print and bringing that to anyone. I mean, whether you're, I don't know, I'm going to make this up, whether you're my Aunt Sally making soap in her garage that wants to have a nice label to maybe she makes chocolate too. I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a big part of it where you don't have to have those runs. So it's education like that. And then I really think as the technology continues to go down the path that it is, constantly improving, getting faster, better detail, we're going to see more and more adoption in packaging. And to me, packaging really is the holy grail, because when we start talking about throwing around this term industrial print, to me, when you walk into an actual packaging converter, that's industrial. That's part of supply chain. That's where, I mean, that is true manufacturing, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And you make an interesting point, and we've been paying attention to like the kind of the post COVID, or COVID actually drove a pretty big wave of people starting their own businesses.
Yeah.
Kind of the Etsy culture, the Instagram culture, or I shouldn't say Instagram, but like the social media culture,
The side hustles. Yeah.
the side hustles that could become the larger hustles, right? But what I think part of that education that you're speaking to is like, I think most people in their brains see like some specialty effect and they think large runs, it's too expensive. And so they don't even pursue it. So I think part of bringing that we're seeing this bear out in the numbers. Tactful does a study with what they think. We've done it, put it in the field twice now. And the big shift is we're starting to see it come into more mainstream. It's starting to be like embellish first instead of like just, oh, we got this specialty thing that we could do. But I think you hit upon all the important things. It's like educating everybody across the whole landscape, not just educating printers, but printers have to educate their customers and designers, because a lot of times designers don't know what they can do, especially like you said, we're not really educating them on print. Most of the design that's being done today in schools is all going on the digital side. It's starting to shift a little bit because the pendulum's shifting back to print slightly. And we're seeing that bear out in the numbers too. Books are coming back, direct mail is coming back. And I think it's because we're starting to get overloaded with the digital. So like print is new again. Like print's the novelty thing that can get people's attention. And those things kind of always shift. So I wanted to dig in a little bit into technology and differentiation. In a landscape of where you've got raised UV, digital foil, other effects, how do you evaluate which new embellishment technique makes sense for adoption? How do you balance novelty versus reliability?
Yeah. So that's a good question. And I was actually going to interrupt you and go back to the education piece, but this actually ties in beautifully.
Yeah, feel free to always interrupt me, man.
Yeah, no. So the other half of that education is not just what designers can do, but for the brands is what is my return on that spend?
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's, hey, if I add this effect, am I going to get another 20% lift off of that shelf? And just by adding foil, can I command another $3 per whatever widgets in the box?
Absolutely.
And those kinds of studies and that kind of education, it's really what I call a pull-through strategy or a top-down strategy, where when the brands start to understand those margins and see the returns, especially when we get into regionalized and personalized packaging, I really feel that as digital packaging matures, that we'll see a greater uptick there.
Absolutely. I actually just did a presentation for Zycon recently and talked about that very thing, that personalization doesn't always have to be, hi, Eric,
Right.
it could also be regional.
Right.
It could also be if you're marketing in Louisville, you have a bourbon theme or right or
Exactly.
something or a sports team kind of themed, and like you can personalize. Is that a
Yep.
thing? I don't know if that's a thing,
Yeah,
but
for sure. I mean,
maybe.
you look at like Pepsi, they partner with sports teams when they go to the Super Bowl or they go to the World Series, like
Yeah. No, I think what the other thing too is, and you can maybe speak to this, is in a lot of our tactful educations and presentations that Kevin and I do, we talk about these old East things like in packaging, right? Like we talk about the toothpaste example,
Yep.
and we talk about the Zantac example, and people point out, well, that wasn't digital foil. Like, no, it wasn't. It was, but you're able to have those kinds of effects digitally short run. The point
Right.
is that the guys with the big dollars, the big bucks, have proven the psychology that we can now leverage because we can do it in a short run environment with less expensive equipment. So
Did,
I think that's the takeaway, is like it's more accessible to more people. And like you said, imagine that Etsy person that can put a little foil splash or a little raised UV coating on their whatever, their tags or their package or their bags. Does that have an effect? I think it does, because it's broadening the usage of the technology.
I agree, and I'll add on it's not just short run, but it's speed to market, which
Mm,
usually is short run, I will
sure.
admit, but being able to have those versioned pieces, like whoever wins the Super Bowl, you always have two sets of winners. You have hats and t-shirts. You don't know who's going to win the game, but having that kind of speed to market in print available to you, I mean, that is a real thing. 24-hour next day foil is a real thing because there's no dyes. There's the
I mean, it's truly like, it's kind of the area that we were in with variable data about 10 years ago, right? Like,
I use that analogy all the time.
it's like 10 years ago, variable data was like magic, and now it's just kind of like sort of table stakes.
Expect it.
And eventually we'll get there with a lot of the embellishment stuff.
Yeah. So to your question, what makes a good embellishment? What makes it stand up?
Yeah,
I mean, really, with taking all of that into account, I mean, it's real. It's because it's a bad answer, but it's the real answer is what is most relevant to that piece or that brand. What's going to grab the most attention, and that's really what's going to be appropriate. There's no real magic bullet. I mean, you can't go wrong with classic silver and gold foil,
sure.
but a
Or
lot of
soft touch. It's hard to beat a nice soft touch. Like, it's just so tactile.
right.
I think, and we both have a mutual friend, Matt Redbear,
Yep.
who always says, my dog's going crazy all of a sudden. Max hasn't yet made an appearance on the podcast, but eventually it's going to happen. He's barking
Might be the day.
He's barking at the mailman or something outside. But what Matt always says is, it's the subtle thing,
I agree.
the most appropriate thing that can get the look, right? Like, it's like any print technology. We default to overusing it. When QR codes came out, we were putting it on every darn thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw QR codes on road signs, and I'm just like, that's not the right application for
I
that.
saw a QR code tattoos, dude.
Man, that's actually kind of a cool. If it leads you to my LinkedIn, I might get me one.
It's clever. I'll send you a few. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely not doing that. So let's talk about scaling challenges, because you're sort of on the equipment side now, and you're working with a lot of folks that are trying to integrate some of this technology. What operational cost or workflow challenges tend to trip up companies trying to scale embellishments, and how do they mitigate those risks?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to think of the best way to answer it. I would say that it comes back to kind of what I was saying before about understanding the value of it.
Okay.
So when I started talking to a company and they're considering digital embellishment, I kind of call it baking the embellishment cake. And one of the key things that I look for is, what does their sales force look like? And it's kind of a weird thing that a sales guy would look for, but truly with this, the ability for that company to market and sell that embellished product and communicate the value and then price it appropriately based on that value is one of those major obstacles. And I see that across, okay, let me back up a step. So here's a good question that I get a lot is, hey, I'm going to make this up. I'm charging $1 a sheet right now. What can I get for a sheet if I add embellishment to it? Well, is it a sheet of, yeah,
There's so many answers to that question.
right. Yeah. Is it a sheet of business cards? Is it a sheet of wedding invitations? Is it a sheet of perfume boxes? And where will this be sold? Are these business cards for high-powered attorneys in Beverly Hills? Or are these business cards for Joe's auto repair down the street, right? So it really does, the vertical does matter, but a lot when it comes to embellishment, I mean, it is still considered a luxury and a luxury effect in many ways.
Sure.
So not only is it the sales force that I look for, but who are your customers? Who do you do business with? And the answers to those questions give me a very good understanding of, is this going to be a fit? Is this not going to be a fit? And then, of course, where do these companies want to go with it? What are their goals and aspirations? Even if you don't do business with a company that would use these kinds of effects, if it's in your plan to target that, and that's, then we can talk about building it and what that looks like. But it really does come down to the value of the piece and then the margin that's added to it. I will say that some of the best at it are actually some of the web to print guys out there. They've done a very good job with their pricing and adding the value to it. But in many ways, packaging and publishing are still coming into that digital embellishment mindset. And that's still why I do consider both of those to be the holy grail for adoption, because on that scale of production, that's where digital embellishment, in my opinion, will find its mainstream footing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, packaging just from a printing standpoint is like,
Yeah,
right. I mean, it's just the obvious thing, right? Like there's no digital version of it,
there's not.
right? Like, so we're totally insulated. We've got to manufacture and we've got to print those. And I think and you mentioned runs. I mean, we're seeing, we're getting up into like what, 5,000 now is feasible, from a cost
Oh,
standpoint, so we're getting into, not, I wouldn't say high runs, but we're getting into higher runs, and the limits on that are continuing to be pushed by,
yeah,
the likes of you guys at Harris and Bruno and some of the other OEMs as well.
for sure. I've easily seen 15, 20,000 sheet average runs. And on the other side of that coin, I've seen brands demand over 1 million sheets in a run just because of the effects that they can get with embellishment presses versus conventional. And again, it's that speed to market.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for them. And then I don't want to go too deep in the weeds, but there's sustainability elements to that as well.
No, definitely talk about that. I mean, because I don't think we talk enough about it. I think that's really, really important, especially on the foil side, because there's historically lots of waste there.
Yeah, there is. I mean, without occupying all my time on the soapbox here. Yeah, I mean, when you talk about dyes, I mean, these are precious metals. It's brass, copper, steel, magnesium, and that has to be mined out of the earth. And it's again, it's kind of one of those hidden things, but it's not only just the scarring of the earth, but the fossil fuels for the equipment,
Right.
the chemicals used in the refining process. There's massive amounts of transportation. There's a heavy carbon footprint burden. I've never said that before. It's a new word for me. Carbon footprint burden that
I like.
comes with the mining of those metals. And then I joke with a lot of finishers and ask them how their recycling program's going. It's those dyes are going to be used. They have to be stored. There's floor space that comes with it.
Yeah,
And then overall, I mean, you just look at power consumption as a whole, and digital, it does win out for both labor, power, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
for sure. So over the next 5 to 10 years, which embellishment trends, which ones excite you the most? Like, where do you think we're going with this?
Where we're going, I would definitely say that I really can't say advent anymore, but with the growing adoption of AI, I mean, the sky is the limit. Part of that education, going back to that again, is on the design side. You mentioned Matt Redbeer. Well, there's only so many Matt Redbeers that are out there that do understand how to design for this.
Well, I mean, I would argue there's only one.
Well, okay, I
In
agree.
terms of, yes, and we talk about this artificial funnel all the time, and we throw around the number of 2, 3,000, whatever, designers that really know how to design this well. So do you think, like, I don't want to say get rid of that funnel, but expanding that funnel widely in the next 5 to 10 years is the key trend you're looking for in terms of wider adoption?
Yeah. And by no means would I say replace, or in any ways, I would say enhance and grow are the two proper words I would use there.
No, 100%. Well, think about it in this way, and I just came up with this analogy on the fly. Let's try it out. Like, Home Depot is not getting rid of construction contractors,
Right.
right? It's
Right.
just making it more accessible for me to do something, to fix something on my level, right? It's just making it easier for everybody to do it on whatever level they're on. We're always going to need, and actually, I'm going to argue for wider and wider adoption, we need more than those 3,000. We need maybe 6,000 of them, but also make it easy to do a simple embellishment for your auntie or your kid to go online and do. I think that, I mean, not to steal your answer for the question, but like that's kind of what I'm excited to see is like
Yeah.
a little self-serving because we're sort of on that path at Tactful to trying to make that happen. But it's interesting that you say that, because I might have expected you to say something on the lines of the technology, being that you're in the field of OEM making equipment. So it's an interesting answer.
Yeah.
Maybe we're there with the technology, but we're just not with other things that are blocking the utilization of it.
Well, I'll go back to your Home Depot example where I can go and buy a brand new DeWalt saw. I can go and get, maybe I shouldn't name brands. I can go buy all these wonderful tools. To your point, there's only so many people that will know how to utilize them as best that they can. So as that continues to grow, the equipment is there and it's fantastic. Do I think the equipment will continue to grow and get better? Absolutely. But the more people that know how to use that hammer, man, the more hammers are going to be out there is what it comes down to.
So let's take some time for you to be a little bit of self-serving. Like, what's going on at Harris Bruno? What are some things? What's been new for you guys? And maybe the better way to answer that question is like, what does Harris Bruno bring uniquely to the world of digital embellishments today?
Yeah, that's a very
I'll
good
let you
question.
put on your sales hat.
Yeah, let me take one off, put one on here. Yeah, man. So really, when you look at Harris and Bruno as a whole, they've been, I mean, not a lot of people really know, but we've been around for over 75 years. And they started as a small machine shop with 6 guys, and they've really grown into just this powerhouse for coating equipment and coating technology. I mean, sparing a lot of history there, really, when you look at coatings, I mean, aside from helping dry inks faster and provide protection, they really were some of the original haptic effects in print.
Definitely.
Whether it's a gloss or a matte, there's different feels, there's different refractions and reflections of light, reticulations, grits. There's all kinds of different things that go into coatings. So really, when you look at digital embellishment, it really is a logical evolution to go and move into that space more.
Definitely.
So really what a big thing that we bring there is we've been in that analog space for a long time. We started to adapt our products for digital. So we have web coders that are going on to inkjet digital presses. We have standalone sheet fed presses. We make the components for the coating towers for a number of offset press OEMs. So when I was talking earlier about industrial and manufacturing, Harris Bruno has been in this space for a very long time. So that reputation and level of manufacturing and expectation of performance is really the legacy that we sit on and that we bring to the table. So moving into that embellishment space, that level of dependability and reliability is something that we stand behind as well. We put that into all of our products.
Yeah, and I know that's one benefit to your ZRX device that I've overheard mentioned is that legacy of having a coder.
Yeah.
Because that thing has a built-in coder, you can use all different kinds of substrates that you might not be able to pull off with other digital embellishment equipment. So it's all just built into that device.
Yeah, it's really a fusion of both analog and digital technologies. And yeah, some of the effects that we can produce. A good one, for example, is xMatte and xFoil are two things that we've trademarked. So what we do there is, if you've ever seen a digitally embellished, obviously you've seen a digitally embellished piece, but typically the clear UV is very glossy, has a high reflection.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually come back and put a matte coating on top of it, and then it mutes it down. And at the right height, because it's matte, gives an embossed look and effect. And then the same with foil. It's one of those things you have to see, but
It's a very confusing embossed effect, I would say, because
yeah,
there's no dimple on the back.
right. Yeah, yeah. The sheet's
I'm
not
always flipping the
bruised.
sheet over going, "Wait, that's not embossed, that's something else," but it
Exa-
can look
exactly.
embossed, which is cool.
It is. It is. Yeah. So the reverse is all usable real estate that can be printed on and carry other messaging, which is a big deal in a lot of publishing and publishing, invitations, packaging, all of it, man. It all plays in.
Super cool, man. Well, and since I know we're going to be running this next week and we're going to be heading into Printing United, you guys are going to be at Printing United, part of the Embellishment Technology Tour. Appreciate the support there. You'll be one of the 10 stops that we make on the tour. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what we see in Orlando at that show, and yeah, I appreciate you guys, giving us that support there. We're going to go. All right. So if you weren't outside of print, what creative or other influences do you draw from? What do you do outside of work?
I like long walks on the beach and no.
That's your dating profile.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, wrong question. Sorry. Oh man, I stay pretty active. I exercise quite a bit. I got two teenage kids I'm trying to keep up with that are always trying to outdo me in one way or another. It's as far as hobbies go, man, I'm a pretty avid hiker. I do a lot of outdoor stuff. So I try to get out on the trails and do everything I can. I actually planned to do some of that this past week, but I ended up getting sick and couldn't make it. But yeah, man, I just try to stay active, stay healthy. That's a big thing for me because it just trickles down to all aspects of your life.
That's great, man. Yeah, I mean, you can't be more active than keeping up with a couple teenagers. I have the one from long distance, and it seems hard enough. All
Yeah.
right, lightning round.
Okay.
Favorite texture or tactile experience?
Favorite texture or tactile experience?
Could be anything. Doesn't even have to be print, fabric, natural surface, but it can be print.
Wow, man. Man, you hit me with these deep philosophical questions I got to think about.
Or it could just be soft touch. Mine's soft touch. Like that's just
Yeah. Yeah,
always
I
been.
mean, okay, I will definitely say one of the coolest things I've seen is foil on top of soft touch with a UV pattern. So you've got the soft touch as a base. So we actually do this. We'll put down a soft touch coating, then you've got the raised foil, and then we'll put some kind of raised UV pattern around it. So you've got this smorgasbord of textures and feels you can go around with, man. And I just love that.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I mean, I went complicated. You went all 3D chess on me. You're like multiple layers. Let's go. All right. So, a book, podcast, or resource you recently enjoyed and would recommend?
Man, a book, podcast, or resource around print?
Doesn't have to be. No, this is a lightning round, man. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Something inspirational, something motivational, maybe a person, a, a, a Instagram or YouTube or LinkedIn person.
Yeah, I'm trying to I consume a lot of media from all outlets, but it kind of all to be honest, a lot of it melts together. But when you ask me about the most inspirational one, that's yikes, that's kind of a hard hit.
What was the last thing you read?
The last thing I read, I actually reread one of my favorite books by an author named Daniel Quinn, which is called Ishmael.
I've heard of it. I don't
Yeah,
think I've
fantastic.
read it.
It's a series of three different books. Fantastic book. It's the whole premise of the book is how to save the world, but it's
That would come in handy right about now.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it if anyone's never read it, but it's
Ishmael. Okay.
yeah, it goes deep. It goes deep and really hits at the heart of humanity and where we're all headed.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Last fun thing you did just for yourself.
Man, that's easy. I went and hiked. I hit a 14-mile trail up in Rocky Mountain National Park. I do a lot of solo hikes, and that was a good one. That was a good one. I went up to Ypsilon Lake and spent some time out there, and just man, just sitting in that silence. It's a different silence when you're sitting on top of a mountain by yourself.
Nothing like nature, man. Nothing like nature to kind of bring you back to the source. That's so awesome to hear. We'll have to you'll have to go slower, but love to hike with you someday. I don't know if I could keep up with your pace.
Yeah, man. No, it's all good. It's all good.
Paul,
Everyone goes slow going up, buddy.
hey, listen. You don't know slow till you've hiked with me. Take multiple breaks, but love to get out there. Paul, such a joy getting to have you on the podcast. Learned a lot about, always learn a lot when I talk to you. You have so much experience, and learned a lot about you as well. It was fun having you on the show. Appreciate you making the time.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me on. It's always great to talk to you, man.
All right, buddy. See ya.
All right. See you.